Department of Correction, Commissioner Luis Molina, is joining us live here in the studio, in person, to discuss what he's doing to address this disturbing trend. So good morning, Commissioner. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's get right to it. What happened last Monday, just hours after an inmate died in Rikers? A correction officer stabbed multiple times in the head. What happened there?
Yeah, so it was an unfortunate situation. Our officers do a very dangerous job, and they're managing a very volatile population that's charged with very serious crimes. It was an unprovoked attack, so that individual has been rearrested for attempted murder on our officer. Thankfully, he has been released from the hospital and he's home recuperating, but it just shows a glimpse of the challenges that our officers face every day.
Yeah, you know, the 26-year-old inmate, Gilberto Garcia, had been in custody since 2019 awaiting trial of robbery charges. So is there an official cause of death?
One has not been released yet, but you mentioned that he was there since 2019,
yeah.
And I think that speaks to part of one of the contributors of what's going on Rikers Island, the Department of Correction, and the city in general, in that we are a temporary detention center. So we need the other parts of the criminal justice systems to function optimally so that individuals are going through their justice process to have their cases adjudicated.
But did any of those instances have anything to do with the other? Like, did the inmate's death have anything to do with that attack?
The attack on the correction officer? Well, that gentleman was in our custody for a very short time. He had been in our custody since February, being charged with murder. But I think it just speaks to the long stays of persons that are in our custody. We have over 500 people that have been with us over 2 years, over 800 people that have been with us for over a year to 2 years at a time. And really, we need a robust criminal justice system so that people can get their justice.
So you're saying over 500 people currently at Rikers have been there for over 2 years awaiting trial?
That's correct.
Now, do you think it's because of the pandemic? What's the typical length of time, take a pandemic out of it, that someone would spend at Rikers Island?
So I think when we look nationally and we look at a place like LA County, their length of stay is approximately about 45 days for the persons that are pretrial detainees. For us, that time frame is about double, a little over 100 days when you take the totality of the population. But we have a lot of detainees that are there for very, very complicated, violent crimes. So that adds to the length of stay issue. I think the pandemic played a big part in it because we essentially had courts somewhat suspended for almost 2 years. But we need to sort of, as the system stabilizes, those issues need to be addressed.
Yeah, because a lot of people are wondering whatever happened to the right to a speedy trial.
Yes.
Right. All right. Well, even though the jail population is getting smaller, we were talking about this earlier, the number of violent crimes continues to rise within the jail. So what more can be done then to protect both sides, the people that work there and the people that are being incarcerated?
So we've done a lot over the last 11 months to create some stabilization in the jail. One is we've gone back to basic correctional practices. One of those practices is tactical search operations and searches in general. That didn't happen at all in 2021. We had like one tactical search operation then. We've done over 40 now. So we've recovered over 5,000 weapons out of the facilities, which is huge. In addition to that, we've also recovered about 1,000 narcotics paraphernalia items from the facilities. We've increased interdiction for our mail and packages that are coming in. We've seen just in fentanyl alone, interdiction of 270% increase of us interdicting fentanyl trying to come into the jail through the mail and package system.
How is it getting in?
Well, there's mail. So like I mentioned, so we've seen in drugs coming into the jail and mail a 12% increase overall and a 270% increase just in fentanyl.
But there's no one screening the mail?
So we are screening the mail.
Yeah.
So we've increased doing that, right? So we've increased the use of our canine dogs that can sense narcotics. Now they can sense fentanyl directly. It has to be tested by a fentanyl strip. But if the fentanyl is mixed with like marijuana or some other drug that they can detect, then we also test that for fentanyl. Or with packages may be wet because they're soaked in fentanyl. That's another sign for our officers to test it and interdict it before it gets in.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the big debates going on right now with the jail is the battle over solitary confinement or punitive segregation. That continues to go on, but critics are arguing that it doesn't work. So when do you expect the City Council to actually vote on that, man?
So I don't know when the voting is going to happen on that particular bill. We are open to discussions with the public advocate. I've spoken to him twice, so I don't know when it's going to be voted on. But I have met with a good number of council members. They have been engaging, asking very important questions. We want to make sure that we have a robust restrictive housing model. We do not practice solitary confinement. I'm against solitary confinement. But we need a mechanism in place when things like our officer who was just almost murdered happen. We need to remove that individual not only immediately after the attack, but then place that person in restrictive housing so that he doesn't harm someone else.
Okay, so when we had you on Picks on Politics, we discussed really the semantics between solitary confinement and punitive segregation. But for those who may not have caught that program, just help us understand, if that does happen, right? You remove that person out of population, you put them into what you call as punitive segregation. Are they alone in a cell? What is it?
Sure. So we do not even put them in punitive segregation, right? So punitive segregation is 4 hours of out-of-cell time, and that's the definition of punitive segregation. Our restrictive housing model allows for detainees to still be out of cell for 7 hours a day. They're in a cell. Through the 7 hours when they're out, they're receiving programming if they choose to elect to participate in it, but either way, they're out of cell. They still have access to visitation, faith-based materials, or clergy if they would like that, and they're still in communication with their families. But it allows for us to manage a smaller population in a restrictive housing model that allows our general population and detainees to be able to live in some level of peace.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, the federal monitor tracking the conditions says that you're moving in the right direction. But do you feel confident that the feds aren't going to have to take over?
We've been working really closely with the federal monitor. I have a lot of respect for Judge Swain. We'll go to see Judge Swain November 17th. I think we've done a lot of work over the last almost 11 months to show that we are committed to reforming the jail system. So I think we're in a good place, and we look forward to going to court on November 17th.
All right, keep this conversation going. I appreciate you coming back again in a short time to talk about this issue that we're laser focused on. So we'll have you back again after that vote. Commissioner Molina, thank you. And